So I can't probably show you this. Hang on, let me get the music started properly. There we go. But I've been doing some more really zoomed in comparisons because I love doing that kind of thing because I'm a loser. And you remember how I mentioned FF1 and FF2's overworld maps are identical in terms of size, right? I was actually curious because one of the things that's always weirded me out is we're not very far in the game, right? Like, we just finished the second dungeon and we're on our way to the third right now. And yet we have done a lot of traipsing across the entire overworld. You'll also notice, let's ignore the chocobos because, let's be honest, you probably don't even know they're there, that we don't have any kind of transportation. Remember, one of the things we do before we even go to the first dungeon in FF1 is we get a ship. And while the ship doesn't prevent us from having encounters, what it does is speed up our transport and inform our movement. You get the ship so you know the next stop is on the water, right? And you know what to look for on the water because the ship starts in one of the bays. Okay, cool. There's a logic to that. And the ship goes much faster, so traipsing across that first continent in FF1 is much easier. You'll also notice, if you look at FF1's... I know I don't have the image up here. But if you look at FF1's overworld map, a lot of it's water. Whereas in FF2, a lot of it's just empty land. So I'm going to try to show this off. I'm going to fail. But, like, I kind of want to show you a little bit here. So, like, here's the two overworld maps kind of layered on top of each other, right? It's a little laggy because it's a very, very large image, as you can see. But just to put this into perspective, so let's eyeball this just really quick. Okay, so here's FF1's map, right? Here we go. Zoom out a little bit better. So, hang on. Let's see what the problem is. Come on, game, work with it. There we go. Okay, that's not perfect, but we're going to live with it for right now, okay? So here's FF1's primary overworld map. The initial loop is very simple. You start here, and then you scoot your way up here. Whoops, hang on. And then you go head over here. This is where you get the ship. In fact, the ship is literally labeled right there. You can see the mouse cursor. You head across the interior sea down to the Elflands. There's the first dungeon right there. There's that, right? Okay, so that's like your initial loop is the interior of this and all the connected locations. Okay, makes sense, cool. Over on the left is where we go after first fiend. Over on the right is where we go after second fiend. All right, all this makes sense. So let's bring back up this map for a second. So I know it's kind of weird looking at because it's transparency to make this work, but the idea here is we start down here at Altair, do the work, walk up to Finn. That's basically the same as what we did in the last game, but then we head pretty far over here to the east, as our next destination is actually Salamand. And just to put this into perspective, the rough distance we just travel here from Altair to Salamand is the equivalent of walking from the Marsh Cave to Corneria on foot. And you're starting to see why, even though the rough travel distance is about the same, the travel time feels substantially more frustrating. Especially since we're, fighting some irritating enemies the entire time. I mean, everyone does that who's replaying this game, Renegade to me, I'm pretty sure. But so, okay, so then we get up to Salamando, and we go over to Semite, which is right next here. And then we go all the way east to Bafsk, which is way over here in the equivalent of the freaking volcano. Like, look at the distance between the volcano and Bafsk there, right? They're practically right next to each other in equivalency. Then, the next step is to go back to Altair, which I remind you is the equivalent of Elfland. So you have to walk across this entire traipse again. And the next step after that is to go to Poft, and then to Altair, and then to Salamand, and then through this ice cavern section, which is supposed to be a whole thing, but instead it's just an overworld section. And this is what really got me thinking is this ice cavern trek, because if we start the trek over there, say like where Corneria is, like right about there, it is so far of a distance of just walking across empty snow. Like, can you see the mouse cursor? Someone confirm deny, because I can't tell. It makes it easier if you can see it here. Oh, you know what? Here, boom. Now you should be able to see the mouse cursor. You see the mouse cursor now? Mouse. I gotta wait to see if... Okay, but it is visible. That's the important part. So, we start off over here. walk all the way the equivalent to wherever this is. The first town I can't think of the name of. And then keep going. The ice cavern is way the ass over here. Once again, I'm just trying to get across some of the idea of what this journey is, because this is a huge stretch of land we're just walking across, and there's nothing here. There's nothing to this. It is just a journey from left to right, and then right to left, because we have to leave this whole area too. By the way, it's worse than that, because if you remember, one of the things this game... I'll get rid of this now. Thank you for the indulgence. One of the things this game loves to do is it has what I've already referred to as dungeon crawler dungeon design, which means they want you to redo dungeons. They want you to go partially into a dungeon, leave because you didn't finish it, and go back into the dungeon now that you're better equipped and geared and have leveled up more. That's how almost every dungeon in this game is designed. Now think about that trek across that giant icy wasteland, crossing the equivalent of FF1's continent twice anytime you want to go and come back in order to recover at the nearest town. This is why most dungeon crawlers that follow this kind of design actually put the town or an NPC or a recovery station or something pretty much right outside the cave entrance. Not all of them do this, of course, but it is still a common design decision. I mean, for God's sakes, Diablo, Tristram, dungeon. And you even get shortcuts as you go down. Where is chat? Oh no! You killed the chat, Talia! How could you? How could you do this? Where is chat? Hang on, there's chat, there's chat. Let's reboot chat really quick. There we go. Hey! Chat's back! Alright. Now, as per usual, I'm going to try not to use a map first. I'm just going to explore this place all nice and neutrally and just kind of see how this goes. And then, when I fail and or die, I will go ahead and flip the map. By Starfighter 76, who continues to do really cool stuff. This is a 6th-floor dungeon, too. This is the 3rd dungeon in this game. We're already that big. I guess that's not saying much. In FF1, the 3rd dungeon in the game was, I guess the Ice Cave? Yeah, actually. Because the first dungeon is the Marsh Cave, the second dungeon is the Earth Cave, and the third is the Ice Cave. Then the 4th is the Volcano, or the 4th is intended to be the Volcano. I actually know very few people who do the Volcano 3rd, which is always funny to me. Anyways, whatever. Moving on. Alright, so let's do this miserable place. Let's go and get our proper save in there. And a safety save, just in case. While we're here, though, I also want to double-check something on Guy... Yep, that's what I thought. Okay. So, yeah, we're going to try to start leveling fire in here. Promises for how that's going to work out. There's nothing here. This is what chat was like earlier. There's nothing here. So, yeah, now we have enemies who absorb ice damage. I guess this is a good enough tutorial to the concept that that exists, because enemies that absorb damage was actually pretty new at this point in history. I'm not even sure Dragon Quest had anything like that. I believe the PC gaming space did, but don't quote me on that. This would have been 88. So the Ultimas were up to like 3 at this point, I want to say. That would be Exodus, which I've actually played. I don't remember any absorb enemies in Exodus. Anyone want to correct me here? If you've clear, feel free. I'm going off of pretty vague memories. I'm not as familiar with the Ultimas as I am some other games. What is that? Oh, it's an icicle. Of course I'm fighting an icicle. Why wouldn't I be? Hello? Let's keep leveling fire. Oh, sorry, do you want me to switch to, like, a battle track? I was on a cold playlist, Renegade of you. But here, just for you. Just for you. Here you go. Perfect time to unmute the song. By the way, here, third dungeon, pretty reasonably far into the game, actually. We're almost at the end of the second major act. And we're just now getting enemies that drop triple-digit money. Wizardry, unfortunately, I don't know, like, at all. I have so little knowledge of wizardry. In fact, you know how I have a personal desire to review like a lot of the historically significant games and really go through like the Ultimas and whatnot. I'm not touching wizardry. I'm not touching wizardry. I looked into what it would be like to play Wizardry 1, and then I said, no, I'm good. Money boosting magic. Now that's an interesting idea. Exchange mana for money. That's an interesting idea, because you would cast it on a per battle basis, right? And so it's just a buff that you have for that fight, and so that fight you get more money. And that would then be the trade-off, is you spend some MP. 100 gold! Whoa! You spend some mana to get some money. So that's actually an interesting question, Ross. I've actually considered that exact point several times. The problem with the Oregon Trail is that it's barely a game. It is not a video game, let me be clear. To use my own terminology on this matter, I don't think the Oregon Trail counts as a video game. Is it historically significant? Yes. Is it something a lot of people have memories of? Yes. It's barely a game. Just barely. It is pretty much the equivalent of an old Atari game, or one of the original Apple IIe stuff, or the Commodore era stuff. Now, that's fine for what it is, but that kind of resists reviewing, so any given playthrough, that would probably just be me playing it, naming viewers, naming the family after viewers, and then watching us all die of dysentery. Might still do that. But I don't think I would actually bother to review it, because it would be like reviewing Pong. Something that people have joked about for years, but in reality land, there's no real benefit to doing so, right? Like, here's Pong. Okay, I think Renegade Divi has tortured us enough. Actually, hang on. Before I remute the game, I want to test something. 150 gil! Oh, we're rolling in it now. So it's funny you say that, Ross. There actually is a game I want to review someday. It's called Oregon Trail. I've actually talked about this a couple of times. Sorry, there we go. I want to make sure I select the right things. Really easy to screw up inputs in this game. Oregon Trail is it's same general concept. You get the car. I think you're traveling north along the east coast of the United States or something like that. And yeah, Oregon Trail. You notice how I deliberately go out of my way to pronounce it differently. The Oregon Trail versus the Oregon Trail. So the Oregon Trail is you're fleeing the zombie horde, and you're trying to head north to Canada because the Canadians are awesome. That's true in real life too. It's not just a game feature. And yeah, there's some gameplay to Oregon Trail, hence the desire to want to actually play that one. Past that, there is actually a mobile version of Oregon Trail that I've played, which has, for lack of a better way to put this, gameplay to it. For example, a major mechanic in that version of the game, I don't remember what it's called, I'll have to figure it out. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Death Road to Canada does the same exact thing. For the same exact reason. You've got... Your inventory is literally your wagon, right? But your wagon size is like 5 by 10 or whatever, which means you have 50 inventory slots. And it's the Tetris inventory, right? So, that meat that you got from the buffalo is great meat and it'll last a while, but it takes up a huge chunk of your inventory. You got, like, barrels over here for water, and you got, like, some wine here, you got some medical supplies. All that takes up space. Furthermore, your wagon can actually take damage as it's just it takes regular damage just by traveling, but it can also take damage from events or encounters or rough terrain or decisions you make or whatever. And if it does, chunks of that inventory are no longer accessible because it's damaged. So you can repair it if you have the resources to do so, and if you don't, you just don't have that inventory space anymore. And if you can't fit all of your inventory into the now, reduced space, you got to chuck it overboard. There's clearly a door here, game. I wish Eva was here so I could be like, hey, Eva, how do you like this brickwork? Isn't it great? But anyways, I don't remember which version of Oregon Trail that is. Yeah, it has quite a bit of gameplay. I actually played it on my phone, of all things. But that was a port. I don't know if it was designed for mobile to begin with or whatever. Oops. It's so cold. Okay, so I think I've heard all I need to. Let's give another negative. I love giving negatives. Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's get some Donkey Kong music. Just for you. You don't like Donkey Kong music? What in the world? That would be fun, actually, Ross. See how far I can get. Either in a single character challenge, or a no-save challenge, or a deathless run. Deathless would be rough, even in FF6. Not as rough as it is in other games, just, I'd probably make it roughly to the floating continent, and then I'd have to be a little bit more careful. I hear there's this Chrono Trigger task, Ross. Let me tell you, I don't think I've ever gone more in-depth into the mechanics of Chrono Trigger than I did in that freaking task. And yeah, slam dancers have level 2 magics. That is something they have to accommodate for. And the big dudes can do, I forget the name of the attack, but a giant heavy-hitting attack. Excuse me. Oh god, dying horribly. Oh. Is it throat jab? I think you're right, yeah. Because throat jab is actually a modifier attack, like cat scratch. Yes, fresh reminder, I did a level 1 Chrono Trigger test. I highly recommend watching it. It is in the category of things I'm very proud of having concluded. Yeah, they also do Magnitude 8. Never, Reggie! I refuse! Oh my gosh. That... Wow, okay. I'm gonna let that sit. Yeah, that's true. In a deathless run, there might be a lot more running. This is one of the reasons why most challenge runs include multiple variables. Because a lot of, well, like I said, a lot of deathless runs are made easier when you have the run button. So what if you make an additional rule that you can't run? Oh god, single challenge with Gao is... it's a lot of prep work and a lot of planning. And if I'm being completely honest, it's kind of boring once you get there. Also true, Renegade of me. Because, like, yeah... Obviously, you want the stray cat. Duh, you want cat scratch if you're doing a Gal run. But you're also going to need magic damage, which means you need to figure out which which characters or which monsters you have to go fight in the overworld so that they'll spawn in the Veldt. Then you gotta go get on the Veldt and actually successfully land a jump on those specific enemies. And I sure hope you know which enemies use which spells and which bosses and monsters are weak to which magic. But I'm gonna be real. Most single challenge runs, so I mentioned I've done several of them. What I did not tell you is that I failed most of them. And I can even tell you exactly where. Most people think of FF6 as an extremely easy game. There's a good reason for that. It's pretty easy. What most people do not know is there's actually a colossal difficulty cliff pretty much right at the end of the game. It's Kefka's Tower. Most of the bosses in Kefka's Tower are of a substantially meaner variety than anything else in the game. And there we go. In addition to that, the 3 statues fights are another tier of difficulty above that. And then the final battle itself is mean. Like, most people think of the final battle, they think Ultima, 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 offering attacks, offering attacks, offering attacks. But you gotta think about the fact that you have been turned into a death god for that fight. Get rid of all those tools for a second, and those last few fights suddenly become a lot meaner. For example, the way this works, and I can tell you this because I've done this, the way this works is you get to the final battle, you've just got Gao, and Gao's like, okay, cool, I've got this, and you've got him equipped with stuff which protects from instant death, because if you don't, he will die to the 2nd or 3rd tier, I forget which, actually. Like, just guaranteed, it's just going to kill him. And you probably cat scratch with him. I know that sounds strange to do, but honestly, the extra crit chance and the armor penetration are worth it. And then you just sit there and watch and pray as he slowly kills his way through things. And I sure hope to God you did something to, like, give him some kind of regen or healing, because you can't heal. Except there's a weird asterisk. Gao can leave rage when you transition from one fight to the next. So, I don't actually 100% know what causes this to happen, because it didn't happen consistently. But, like, when you go from Tier 1 to Tier 2, it's like, hey, I'm back to being in control. I think it's just because it's a different encounter. So, you're back to being in control. You can heal yourself, you know, pop an elixir, switch back to cat scratch, up to Tier 3, pop an elixir, etc. And that's all fine and good until you get to the 4th layer, who has an ability that will reduce your health to 1. I thought about a few ways to get around that, because there are ways you can get around that. In fact, there are some rages that have built-in regen, which is a nice thought. The problem is most of those things don't have the ability to, you know, do damage. And you kind of need to be able to do damage in order to be able to progress through the game. Where am I? What am I doing? Yeah, that is actually something that occurred to me. Because he will only use Fallen 1 on a reasonably strict schedule because of how his AI script works. So if he uses Fallen 1, you have several turns of free time before he'll use it again. So if you can kill him in that time, and he's got about 60,000 health, if you can kill him in that time, then you're good. It is an interesting experience. But there's a reason why I've never actually successfully concluded several single-character challenges, and it's because I've gotten to Kefka's Tower and then run into a wall. For example, I'll use another example. Cyan. I've never actually beaten a Cyan route. Now, I know how you could do it. I've already done the prep work of figuring out what would be required. And the answer is, ugh, because you need a pretty specific setup, a decent amount of luck, and a gigantic pocket full of elixirs. You can do it. Hardest main boss of the mainline FFs. Neo Exdeath. Amusingly enough, I don't actually have to think about that too much. A lot of people forget that Neo X Death is actually really freaking mean, because, similar to my FF6 example, most people get to Neo X Death with some kind of absolute death party. But Neo X Death is a very mean fight. He's the first of the bosses, which has multiple parts as part of the final battle thing, same thing that Kefka does. And a lot of those parts have very unique abilities and skill sets and status changes. For example, one of my personal favorite things is that the very back enemy cannot be targeted by most attacks. There's only certain attacks you can do, usually like magic or special attacks, that can even attack the thing there. So if you're not ready for that, you can kill your way through it and then just not be able to kill the dude in the back. A lot of your attacks can heal certain aspects of the monster. It has the ability to affect you with a random assortment of status effects. All kinds of fun stuff. Like, Neo X Death is mean. Who else would be, like, in the running? Let me think about this for a second. Like, who else would be amongst the hardest bosses? I think I'm also going to mention... So hang on, let me kind of go down the list a little bit here. So, in FF1, there is actually one boss that is rather brutally difficult, especially if you don't know what you're doing, if you're not exploring the game. And that is the last fight. Which is funny, this is true in several versions of the game. Chaos at the end of FF1 NES... You have I want to say, a 16 turn. It's like 7 to 16 round chance. I'm explaining this wrong. Every round, Chaos will either attack you, use one of his special abilities, or use one of his spells. He uses his spells in sequence. What that means is he'll always cast the first spell, then the second spell, then the third spell, then the first spell. And he'll loop. Make sense? That was really close, Trihexia. I was actually impressed with that. I was curious how you even guessed that. So, what that means is he will always use all of his spells at some point in time, thanks to just how the encounter table works. Which means, when he gets around to his Cure 4 spell, he will completely heal his health back to full. This sucks exactly as much as it sounds like. Please keep in mind that he also hits like a truck and knows nuke. And you just don't have a ton of kit in FF1 to really deal with that, unless you're exploiting. Seriously, cast haste, and I think it's fast and blade, I want to say, are the spell names in FF1 NES, on a monk who's level like 30, and then just punch him once and you'll kill him in literally one hit. That's not a joke. But if you're not exploiting, he is very mean. Which brings us to FF2. There's actually several boss fights in FF2 that are pretty mean, but amusingly enough, the hardest one is, once again, the last one. I actually was looking up his stats recently because a friend of mine was like, wow, this game is so easy, referring to FF2, and I'm like, you're high. And I pulled up the stat list for the final boss here in FF2, which I'm actually staring at right now. So he has an attack power of 180, does 8 attacks with 100% chance at accuracy. It is actually impossible under normal means to avoid all of that. Even if you've been cranking up your evasion to max, which you should do, you will get hit by at least some of that. No avoiding it. He knows Flare 16, which bypasses all spell defenses. He knows Blind 16, which is exactly what it sounds like. Curse 16, Dispel 16, Slow 16, and Starfall 10. He has a 30% chance of hitting you like a truck, by the way. Like, he can just Shrek you. Every time he attacks you, he heals for the amount of damage he just did. His evasion is 80%. His magic defense is 70%. Yeah, I see. Marina's dead. I'm gonna deal with everything else first. Oh, that's irritating. I don't have life. I don't have the life spell anymore. I lost Minwo. I cannot res her. Anyway, so yeah, Emperor's pretty mean, too. Then we have FF3. I would say FF3 doesn't have any properly difficult bosses, but I do need to mention, once again, the last boss. So, the Cloud over in FF3 is really boring. It does one of two attacks, and it has an extremely high chance of doing the one attack, which is the laser beam attack. I can't remember what it's called. And it's just going to spam that laser beam attack. Based on how many of the bosses you killed in the totally optional bosses leading up to it, changes the damage of that attack. Yeah, that's why I'm like, this doesn't really count, because she's bullcrap, not hard. Give me a sec. I'll try to pull up the actual stats on her really quick. Maybe? Jesus Christ. Why there's so many enemies in this freaking game. There she is. There we are. Yeah, particle beam. That's what it's called. Yeah, so she literally has a 99% chance to hit you with particle beam. The other 1% of the time she'll do a physical attack, which has an attack power of 240, 11 attacks at 83% accuracy. Jesus Christ. Her evasion is 3299. If you don't know what that means she will evade 32 attacks, up to 32 attacks with 99% success rate. Her defense is 255. Her magic defense is 255. But let's be clear, she's bullcrap. She's just a stat stick. In fact, what she is, because there's actually a specific reasoning for this, she is designed to force you to go get the ninja and the sage. That's it. So for those of you not aware, in FF3 there are these optional super jobs that you can get. And if you go get them, then they are ridiculously, stupidly overpowered. And they can bypass things like defense and magic defense and evasion. Ninja and the sage. And if you're getting to the end of the game, you want, you know, some combination of ninjas and sages to get through the rest of the game. Do I even keep going? I mean, I'm on like floor 2 and she's already dead. Let's just get out of here. Oh my god, I can't exit out of this dungeon. What? Oh, that's why. Oh, that's frustrating. So this is one of those dungeons where there's a cutscene that plays as you leave. And so any dungeon that has a cutscene that plays in the dungeon has an energy field that prevents running or exiting. So we get to walk out and then walk back across the equivalent of the entire continent. Anyways, so the Cloud of Darkness is bullcrap. She's really hard. She is. Like, if you're not prepared, she'll just obliterate you. And remember, there's no saving in any of the final dungeons. But I don't think she counts as accurate. So let's move on to FF4. 4 is an interesting one. A lot of people say 4 is one of the easiest FFs, and I actually kind of agree. But I agree with something Blade Troll mentioned earlier as an aside. Zeromus is kind of weirdly RNG. He has a very large amount of things he can do, which includes nothing. I've seen his attack script. It's bizarre, and it is very random. So, yeah, you can have a pretty easy time with Zeromus. Or he can just kind of decide that you die. Like, he has the ability to hit you with Black Hole, and then immediately follow that up with Big Bang, and then immediately follow that up with Meteor. He can just do that. And yeah, he also has HP gated phasings, and it's a whole thing. So Zeromus is kind of variable. I honestly think Zeromus is not as hard as the Chaos or Emperor I just mentioned. But yeah, you could still definitely have a rough time on him. I've already mentioned FF5. FF5 actually has several very main bosses. I've already told you about Neo Exdeath, of course. There's also the Necrophobe right before the end. And I'm not going to talk about the super optional bosses, because Twintania is usually a very big barrier in that game. Anybody who's ever watched me play a 4-job Fiesta knows that a lot of strategizing in FF5 for whatever 4 jobs you get comes down to 2 major bosses, well, technically 3. The first Exdeath fight, Twintania, and the Neo Exdeath fight. All 3 of those fights are main. The first Exdeath fight is just a dude who has a ton of attacks and a ton of variety, and he rotates around. He just does a lot of stuff, is what it boils down to. Oops, wrong button. The Twintania fight, he's a big old boy, but what's really funny about him is you can... Oh, it would actually take me a minute to describe why he is so rough. He starts off as a heavy fight, then gets rid of heavy status to kill you in the face, is a good summary. I know that sounds weird, but it's true. Like, that's kind of where that's at. I think we're going to go and buy all 3 life tomes. I've been sitting on this for a hot minute. Omega, I wasn't going to count Omega for obvious reasons, but yeah, the game kind of wants you to run into Omega. By the way, how many of you have ever blown tons and tons of money on buying some of these tomes for people who then die and leave your party? Never again. There we go. How much is exit? That's what I thought. So we're kind of set up on our initial party. We've got life, cure, and exit on at least 2 people. That's most of the spells I'm going to be getting for the other party members for the rest of the game. Kind of wiped us out of money, but it's whatever. So the final boss, the Dark King, is actually kind of interesting in that he is... I wouldn't call him super difficult, but I also like to reach him overpowered. I know, it's strange, especially coming from me. The thing about the Dark King, though, is I have died to him before when not using the glitch. Because he's just kind of... He's the same general difficulty as Exdeath, not Neo Exdeath, the regular Exdeath fight in FF5. He's just got a lot of attacks. And he can hit you from a lot of different angles, and he's resistant to most of the tricks and tips and whatever status effects kind of things you can do. So he's just going to sit there like, what? And just beat your face in. He's also got 3? Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excuse me, 4 phases. Jesus Christ, Dimash. I am shocked the story is not worse, to be quite honest with you. I believe you. I'm shocked. I'm not surprised by that gameplay. So then we move to FF6. As I've already mentioned, the statues and Kefka are the difficulty there. Although neither of them are super difficult. Especially not if you've used the tools the game gives you in order to just break the game in half. But they're as hard as it gets in that one. I've said for years that 7 has better boss design than most of the FFs before it. But amusingly enough, most of the boss fights in 7 are actually relatively easy. Now, there are a couple of walls, like Demon Wall. Sorry. It's true, though. Demon Wall is a difficulty cliff. Like, Demon Wall is definitely something where... I've seen several players get to that point where it's like... It's just... They're not ready. They're not ready for that fight. Thankfully, there is a save a little bit before that, so you don't have to redo too much of your time, but oof. I mean, yeah, really, you're never prepared for some of the stuff in 7, I swear. But no, there are several spikes in FF7. Yeah, no kidding, but the twin-headed dragon in the northern cave is a boss most people don't even remember in FF7, but is another bit of a damage barrier, especially if you are not ready for it. Oh, excuse me, heart attack. Oh, excuse me. See if we can get further than floor 2 this time. God, could you learn some freaking health, Maria? Please, 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 please. You know what I should do? And in fact, I'm going to do it. I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to be crazy. We're just going to make her be the tank. You are now the tank. She's going to be hit by, like, all the attacks now. This is a great idea that I'm having. Yeah, no, I've got the life spell now. I just need to make sure she lives. That's all I need. I have never had any difficulty with any boss in FF8 except Ultimecia. And even then, there's, like, it's just because of RNG. It's just because of RNG. I don't think that counts. So we're just going to move FF8 off the list and move on to FF9. Speaking of FF7. They just share it equally. Or no, that's wrong. It'll be the top row, then the bottom row. Also true, Blizzard Stone. And I also never will. I don't hate myself that much. I don't remember any fight in 9 being particularly hard. Like, no real barrier bosses in 9. There's a few bosses that are certainly harder than other bosses, like the Death Gaze, or whatever it's called. But I'm not coming up with much other than that, which brings us to 10. Freaking 10. The better question with 10 is, how many barrier bosses are there? How many wall bosses are there in FF10? Because there's a lot. I mean, everyone remembers Mount Gagazet. Yeah, no, 10... I've been building up to 10 on purpose, because 10 is just... Oof. So, obviously everyone remembers Mount Gagazet and remembers Seymour Flux. Or whatever the last Seymour is. Yeah, the big sin spawn, Leviathan. The thing on the platforms in Bavel. I can never think of the name of the thing. But I've run into a wall on that boss more than once. There's another fight. Yeah, no, there's several. I shouldn't say there's another fight, like there's just one. There are several barrier bosses. Yeah, Yunleska, that's another excellent example. If you remember during the last review run we did of FF10, I was actually very proud of beating Yunleska without being overpowered. It's possible. It's pain. Oh yeah, the thing that's the one you fought on the airship, right? Villagers know. Oh my god. And yeah, I'm not even counting all the optional nonsense that 10 has. Please don't kill her. Thank you. Yeah, so 10 has plenty of candidates for worse. I like how Ross has just left the conversation at this point. He asked the question, then he's like, I'm bored. And leaves. 10 has plenty of candidates. Oh, if I had to pick one fight in 10 that I think is the hardest, like most legitimately difficult... That's actually tough. Let me think about that for a second. A lot of people mention the Seymour Mountain fight, but if I'm going to be honest, I think the final Seymour fight technically qualifies. And there's several reasons why. First of all, screw that mechanic. Screw his gimmick. Just screw it in the face. Second of all, it's... God damn it! It's pretty much the only fight of the ones I have just mentioned that has absolutely mandatory grind. No avoiding it, no bypassing it. You need to grind for this. Even Unalesca, I just mentioned that, even Unalesca, you can do underleveled. Right? I've done it on camera. You can out-strategy your way through that fight. But you can't out-tactics the final Seymour fight. He's just too much of a stat wall. Because the entire final dungeon is designed around you and going and doing all of the optional stuff. Before you even hit the last dungeon. This is actually a big complaint I have about FF10, is that the last dungeon is designed around you grinding before you ever take a step in. Please don't go first, Joseph. I would say, yeah, it makes Unalesca a better fight, but it does kind of make... Dang it. Come on, come on, come on. Kill the bastard. Thank you. It does kind of make Seymour, the last Seymour, the harder of the two. I suppose it's... I get your point, Victorval, now that you're saying it like that. Hey! Her health went up. Oh my god! Maria's health went up. She's over 3 digits for the first time. She's over 3 digits. Oh my god. This game. I don't know, you're kind of talking me into Unalesca now. It helps that she's actually got legitimate mechanics instead of just being a giant stat wall from hell. Well, no, you're right, because the cloud is bullcrap. It's just a giant meat wall of, hey, you went and did the optional stuff, right? And it sounds like what I just said. So, yeah, no, I'm kind of with that. And yeah, Unalesca is mean. It's worth noting. She's just... You can work your way around it. So yeah, I think Unalesca might be my overall pick of, like, all of them. So Unalesca... Neo X Death, as I already mentioned. Emperor, this game. Yeah, I think I'll just stop there. Which brings me to what Dakota asked. Don't think I wasn't paying attention. So Dakota mentions about the temporary party thing. I've been thinking about that for a bit because... And I want Blade Javal to jump in on this too, because I'm sure he has a thought on this. The temporary party member things never bothered me in 4. But it's always bothered me in 2. And I've been trying to put a finger on why exactly. Because, like, it's not... You're constantly rotating party members in 4. You don't get your final party in 4 until pretty far in. Like, until the second Babel trip, I want to say. Somewhere around there. God, my fire's not on. I will also say, I think part of the problem is in FF2, you'll get a character who's, you know, designed. Like, each of these have a class, right? Like, Joseph here is a monk. He's unarmed, he has very little mana, you know, you get it. Later on we'll get a dragoon. At a certain point we'll get a pirate joining us, you know. All of these have their own design to them. It's just... Pirate Blinger. That design may or may not be good, but at the same time, like, it's not like Sid is winning any rewards for class design, right? And that's true. FF4 does go out of its way to design most of its sections around the party you'll have. As much as I am not a huge fan of the Cave of Magnesis, at least they give us a freaking mage, a monk, and an engineer when we're going through that section. All 3 of which can do something, despite the gimmick of the level. Hmm. Now you got me thinking about this. Yeah, speaking of Mystic Quest. Hardest FF11 boss. No. Yeah, exactly, please. No. In other words, no. God, I noticed even though I'm casting constantly with Guy, his magic gain has just stopped. Anyway, sorry, I didn't finish Dakota's question. Hang on, let me return to that for a second. I agree with Dakota completely. Just having a full party would probably have been better. I understand the desire to have more characters in these games. I mean, it's very, very common, right? How many games is your party, is your playable party at any given point in time? Ow! The full size of your cast. Like FF10-2, and probably another one that I can't think of off the top of my head. Thank you, Riplinger. I spent entirely too much time on it, so I'm glad you liked it. I haven't started Voyage Home yet. I haven't had time for that. Oh, yeah, FF15. That's true. That's true. Hey, her health went up again. Holy moly. Fire just at level 2 as well. Just slowly going through all of our potions here, because why not? Inch our way through that. Here. She has... Oh, okay. For just a second, I thought she had no armor on. So, wait, what? Did I say hi to Sean? Hi, Sean. See, what I'm debating here... So, FF3... I could, but then I'd have to give up on bow later on, which I could do. I've been debating that. I'm literally experimenting with the bow at this point. I'm just trying it out to see if I can make anything of it, really. Garlic is so it's a usable item in combat, which does a fairly decent amount of damage to all undead in the party, and then has a chance of breaking. So FF3 had an interesting approach here. In FF3, you had your static party of 4, none of whom had any character, and then you actually had a 5th slot, and the 5th character would periodically get involved in combat as like a proc, but otherwise they're just there, and that's your story character rotating in and out. I'm not saying that's the best way to do that, but that might be a way to accommodate, you know, what they're going for here with the rotating cast members, while just keeping your same static team the whole time. No, 12 is similar to, like, 10. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yes, actually, sorry. Yes, that is... So FF12 does something even different from that, especially depending on which version you're playing. So the original FF12, musically, has this wonderful mechanic where you have the extra party slot, which is your 4th party slot, and they have their own gimmicks, their own gambits, their own mechanics, which kind of are detached from you, which means they can bypass most of the usual rules of the limitations of the game, which means the moment you get a certain young princeling in your party is the time to go do, like, all of the optional stuff you can, because he is going to help tremendously with all of it. In more modern versions of FF12, that's just another party member, and they have no real benefit at that point. It's just another person you rotate in. Dude, first time I ever played FF12, I just leaned on him for his high potions. Just leaned. It always amused me in lore because it would make sense that he would have, you know, the kind of money to afford an infinite supply of high potions. Yeah, me too. Blade 12. I actually had to manually check. Anyways, point being, having like that kind of a extra slot, I think could work. Funny fact, my own rewrite of FF2, I know it's a video, but I was designing it around the idea of it being a game. And the idea of the game was that you have a back row of people that you have recruited to the cause. And that's like the major mechanic of the game, is your back row. Who's back there depends on whom you've recruited. And they all do different stuff based on who they are and what you're fighting. Effectively, they all have their own gambits, so your strategy is who do you bring for what fight, right? And in certain fights, that back row would be completely uncapped. So you can just bring, you know, everybody. Jesus, Joseph. I'm gonna be sad when I lose Joseph in, like, 20 minutes here when I finish this dungeon. I mean, assuming I actually finish this dungeon. That's a bit of a presumption at this point. This dungeon has been kicking my ass, as usual. Speaking of... kind of, yeah, Blake Duvall. Just with a little bit more player control over them. Please stop hitting Rye. Thank you for not hitting Rye anymore. Oh god, I gotta kill this at the right. What are these weak to? That's actually a good question. Hang on a second, hang on a second. I'm gonna look this up. Just this once. Hang on, weapons. Monsters, here we go. Alright, so we're fighting some kind of thing. Very helpful, I know. Yeah, I could guess that they're weak to ice. I don't even know what they're called. Okay, I have an idea. Let's look up the icicle enemy. There we go. Icicle enemies in the snow cavern. Let's look up all enemies in the snow cavern. There we go. Alright. By the way, one of the best weapons in the entire game is in this dungeon. Here it is. These are grenades, specifically. Hey, they're weak to fire and lightning. We'll go and use lightning to level it. So why not, basically? Oh, no, 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 and Rye's dead. Whatever. By the way, did you notice that life, as in the life spell, has a chance to land? By the way, the grenades have an 80% chance to self-destruct. Just to put a number on the likelihood of them exploding on us here. I'm gonna double cast here. Hopefully one of them gets through. Ineffective. Ineffective. Wow! Yeah, so we just missed both of those life spells. Oh my god. I'm gonna have to do this dungeon again. Alright, Jesus Christ. Okay, hang on. Come on, live. Come on, live. You know, hang on. Random idea. Oh, thank God she got up. Now, please kill the grenade. Kill the grenade. Kill the grenade. No! Damn it! Bye, random. Bye. Oh, might as well start using her life magic. Get up. Earthbound has an interesting approach to the concept of a temporary party member. So for those of you who don't remember how this works, so you get your first party member, and that's it. And for a weirdly large chunk of the game, you are just playing with one party member. Hi, Rex. Then you get your second party member. She starts at an extremely low level. However, she comes built in with equipment that ensures that she's not going to take a hit for several rounds of combat. And she gains experience very quickly at her lower levels, so she's supposed to catch up very, very quickly to you. Okay, designed around that limitation, no problem. Your third party member is interesting, because you actually go and do a completely separate section. You leave the party entirely for the third party member and just play as him for a while. And as you're... And as you're playing as him, oh god, random's in the back row, I just realized that. Because he died. As you're playing as him, he has his own section designed around being level 1 again. And you kind of, during the course of his section, get him caught up to the rest of the party, at which point he then rejoins the party. So, cool, that works. Let's do some stuff here. Please kill something. Something. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. Please. Please die. Please die. Oh, dear God. No. No, God dang it. Oh, this is... okay. Okay, so since you're screwed... No, hang on. Hi, this doozy. So what I'm trying to say is, like, you could have separate party members have their own playable sections, and then intended to have them, like, link back up to the main party, at which point, they're caught up with the main party, but then never have them leave again, which is the important part. Earthbound does screw that up with Pooh, actually. He leaves the party for basically no reason for a while there. Just fight, I guess. Actually, yeah, the gameplay score is not up to date. I had to stop the bots while I was laying down earlier. Give me a sec. This is a weirdly difficult fight. Considering I'm almost guaranteed gonna have to leave. We have 2 bosses in this stupid dungeon. And that death earlier really cost me. Means we're gonna have to take 3. This is about right. I told you, it's an average. The dungeon crawler approach is to want you to do any given dungeon about 3 times, or rather, visit a dungeon about 3 times to do a full run of it, to do a full sweep. And we're currently on our 2nd. Yes, I know that he's in the back row. I'll fix it in a minute. Jesus Christ. Okay. Tell me I get some stat ups from it. Something. Anything. Please. MP up, HP up, MP up, shield up, sword up. I'll take that. That's actually a pretty decent haul. Okay. Hang on. Get back in the front row. God. Her health is doing well, actually. Like, legitimately well. I mean, that's just where we're at, Rex. I wouldn't even mind as much if the town was like right outside, like I mentioned earlier. Spoilers, it is not. Also, we cannot exit out of this dungeon. We have to walk out. So it's actually worse than normal. So let me hang on. So I said I'd update things. Let me give out a small smattering of negatives here. Alright, let me get the bot working here. I actually don't know golden ratio. I meant to look that up. I might as well look it up right now. I paused anyways. For example, I know, yeah, no kidding, Joel. No comment. But I know that leveling up life increases the chance of it actually landing, for example. Let's see, what does leveling this do? Ah, so if you level up exit, it costs you less health to use. That's actually it. So at a fully leveled, if you have it fully leveled all the way up to max, which is level 16, you actually take no life, no health loss whatsoever. You just teleport out without dying. Congrats, Damashi. Anyways. I'm debating just trying to push. I'm actually not that far from the end here. What, do you like the effect I've got going on, Stoozy? Actually, I'm actually rather proud of it. I think it turned out decently. Let's keep leveling Bolt while we're here. But yeah, part of the problem with this game, and this is a huge problem with a lot of these earlier RPGs, is mana is not just a valuable resource, but it's an extremely finite one. And a lot of enemies, and especially bosses, are designed around the idea that you're going to be using magic against them. We've already fought 2 bosses which are effectively immune to physical damage. Spoilers, those are not the last bosses we're going to be fighting like that. So, you know, I see my 11 mana on my mage there, and I think, ugh. What do you think on that, Bladeful? The whole doing dungeons multiple times thing? Because in some cases, I don't mind as much, really. And in some cases... Oh, Riot's health is just jumping up there. Ooh, nice. She's up to 163. She's still the lowest health, but she's getting up there. I think we're going to leave her there for right now. I really do. How many potions do we have left? None. We do have 1 ether. 1 incredibly valuable ether. I'm gonna push. I'm gonna push my luck. How far am I into the game? Not as far as I'd like. Having to redo dungeons and having to redo an entire dungeon because I game over it is not done my pace any favors. Hey, off the deeper end. Welcome to hell. I mean, hi. This game is perfectly good. No flaws, no negatives. Yeah, I tend to not do that either, Blake Duval. I can get behind a game that has that mentality. In fact, I can actually name a game right off the top of my head where the go further out each time mentality kind of worked. It's called System Shock. It was actually one of the more interesting parts of the early parts of the game of System Shock 1, to be clear. Because you would, like, you've got your early area, which is safe, right? And then you just branch out more and more and more and more and more as you got more knowledge, more understanding, more gear, more tech, etc. You could argue in a weird way that games like Subnautica are like that, too. I lied, by the way. I'm using a map. Sorry. I said I'd try not to use a map, not that I would succeed at not using a map. Oh, these enemy formations are terrible. 2 grenades, 3 bombs, some frickin' goblins. This is an NES title originally. Or Famicom, if you prefer. Honestly, I think this is not worth our time. We're gonna run. We're just gonna run. That's a lot of enemies, and we do not have a lot of mana to burn right now. And we failed! Perfect! Let's try one more time. Let's just see if we can run. Come on. Come on, one more attempt. One more attempt. Come on, just run. Please, please. Okay. That's fine. Oh my god, why is nobody letting the dog in? Hang on one second. I wouldn't be surprised if AVGN has covered this. He's had a fairly long and storied career. Oh my god, nothing's dead. Why is nothing dead? Please kill things. Really? See, I know AVGN has covered some good FFs. Why has he never covered 2? I just realized what that sentence sounds like. Whatever, I stand by it. You see, I'm trying to think, like, how would I make going further into the dungeon interesting? My first and most obvious decision's wrong, idea there would be to make enemies not respawn. In other words, all the progress you make sticks, right? If you start carving away into a dungeon, then once you go back to the dungeon, the path you have carved is now safe. That would require static encounter placement and manual encounter design, but you could do that. And yeah, a checkpoint system would work as well. Have like some kind of teleport spot or something. And once you reach this, you can access teleport spot 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever. Yeah. Like an elevator or whatever. Another, I mean, again, Diablo 1 does exactly that. Like, hey, you've hit floor 12 or whatever. Now you have a shortcut back to floor 12. Don't kill anybody, please. Thank you. Thank you for not killing me. Oh my god, I should not be pushing for this, because I can't exit out of this cave. Yeah, but good, Rex. Good is the goal. Can we make it good? The answer is no, we cannot. It's hopeless. He is so low on mana. We could do it, Seth! We could do it! Believe in the me who believes in you. Good morning, Seth. I feel like there's something niggling in the back of my mind. There would have to be some kind of, for lack of a better way to put it, motivation behind going back to town. Other than just running out of resources, right? I mean, you could do that. You could, for example, you could make it so you have an extremely limited mana pool, but spells are really strong. And once you've done that, you've pretty much generated a reason to constantly go back to town. Girls, what are you doing? Hi, girls. Hi, girls. Girls. Careful there. Now I am working, which means you can't be in here playing right now, okay? Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll give you something other than shark. It has to be something else.
I said fish.
I know, you said fish, but it has to be something other than shark. Please don't bite that. That's unsanitary.
Ew.
Stop. You're going to knock it over. Thank you.
Me move it.
Here, I'll help you. Now, let's scooch this out of the way. All right, so something other than shark. What are you thinking?
Fish.
She wants fish. What do you want? Do you want back scritches? Do you want head scritches? Do you want scalp scritches? Do you want shoe scritches? Oh, that's true. Your shoes are not candy. All right, what are you thinking?
Shoe squishes.
Okay, so we can do that. Oreos are good. Hand them to me. No, you haven't. Do you want one? Here you go.
Can I have two fishies?
Sure. Hey, take 2. Now scooch. Behold. But there's a terrible, terrible cost for these fish. It will cost you 1 hug. I'm kidding, you don't have to hug them. You never have to hug someone if you don't want to. Remember that, okay?
I still do it anyway.
You can if you want to. I always appreciate your hugs. But you never have to. Okay?
Swan. Is that a dollar coin?
Actually,
Or is
yes.
that a half-dollar coin?
No, that's $1. It's my coin. I use it for flipping. See?
Dollar coin?
Whoop. I lost it.
It did not want to go to...
There we go. See? And now it's heads, and I can use it to make decisions. See? Now it's heads again. Now you gotta leave. Remember, that was the rule. Go have fun, okay?
Okay.
Have fun. Have fun. Or else.
I thought it was only for sharks.
What?
I thought it was only if we did sharks.
No, I am working. I do need you to leave. I'm sorry. I cannot take you to Japan yet. I'm working on that. Now go, Scooch.
Are you actually going to do that?
Well, hopefully someday, yeah. Not like tomorrow or anything. Now go!
Tomorrow we might be having more.
Ooh, that'd be cool. Now go! Door. Thank you.
First
Why are you... No, don't stick your tongue out at me now. Yeah.
6, 7. Yeah, I can say 6, 7. 6, 7. 6, 7.
Aw, thank you for keeping me back to life.
Uh,
No fling. Go, Scooch. I gotta get back to work. Scooch. Scooch.
Here I be from.
Very well.
Upside down.
Oh,
Here
sorry.
we
Gotta
go.
carry you upside down. Ready? There we go. Up we go. Walk on the ceiling. Walk on the ceiling. Okay, now that we have sufficiently walked on the ceiling, yes, that was Mario and Luigi 2 music. Okay. What the hell was I doing? I was killing people! Murdering them brutally and horrifically. Sir, that's just an icicle. Exactly! And that icicle is... melted? I don't know, I can't quip on the fly. I can't do that. Oh, this dungeon. Okay, so pushing. There it is. We'll use it on our resident tank, who's still gaining health, by the way. Okay. Ambushed! Oh, that's great. He's completely out of mana, I just noticed that. Oh, yeah, she's... okay. Okay, healer, heal thyself. I was actually asked recently how I put up with some of these games, and the answer really just boils down to experience. I was actually talking about this with FF11. No offense, Blade of all. But in FF11, the game sucks, right? Like, it's just woof the whole time through. But you kind of get into the zone of it, for lack of a better way to put that. You just kind of mentally slot in as older game, arduous interface, and then you just play it. At least that's what I do, because I've played these games before. I don't know. It's hard to describe the mentality. To be clear, that does not affect the score. These games still deserve many, many negatives for, oh my god! For all of the things that they do wrong. Is FF11 that bad? So... I haven't actually... There's just Yetis, Mr. Red. I haven't actually started reviewing any of the content of FF11, really, other than stuff I had to do in preparation for the run. So, as of this moment in time, FF11 has a +1 to story, -5 to story, +9 to gameplay, and -111 to gameplay. That's before I've started covering content. Now, it's an old MMO, and everything that implies. That is where that's at. That is why that is that way. Now, Secret of the Stars is a little bit different, because Secret of the Stars isn't old design, it's bad design. And I know you're thinking, what's the difference? Well, no, there is a distinction. For example, you kind of get into the mentality in the game I'm playing right now, for example, of having to manually select and go through stuff and all kinds of fun things. Because it's just, they didn't know what they were doing yet, so they programmed it crudely. Bad design is just frustrating to push through. So, like, Secret of the Stars was irritating to play because the game itself was controlling badly. Let me use a specific example. One of the more, shall we say, objective complaints I have about Secret of the Stars is inconsistent tunneling and drilling in its interface, which means sometimes certain buttons help you to go down further into a menu, and then further up out of a menu, and sometimes it's other buttons, usually depending on the specific actual menu or step of a menu that you're at a given point in time. In other words, what I just did there involved hitting A several times to go down, and then B several times to go back up. That's simple. It's crude and it takes a lot of button presses, but it's simple and it's understandable. In Secret of the Stars, I'd have to hit A, B, X, and then Y, B, B, A in order to get back out of that. And there's no logic to that. There's no rhythm to it. There's no sense-making. It's just, what were you smoking when you programmed this? You know what, honestly, let's actually not do that. Let's just save our mana. And yeah, let's be clear. FF11... Oh, Jesus, double paralyzed. Wow! Is not scoring any worse than what I would expect from, say, Asheron's Call, or EverQuest, or Ultima Online, which is kind of the equivalency there. Or Dark Age of Camelot might be another comparison point. Oh. Is this just not on random? It is not on random. Well, that's fine. Ooh, a Mithril Spear. If I felt like completely swapping weapons right now, this would be a good time to do it. A Mithril Spear is a very good weapon. Yeah, exactly. Chemix Cow. You get my point, though, right? There's a difference between bad design and old design. The two often tend to be in the same category, but not necessarily. Trying to see if I could come up with another really good example of that. Give me a second. Okay, nobody cares about gameplay. Fnarf. Fnarf. I mean, that's entirely possible, Rex. MMOs were in a pretty rough state once upon a time. And arguably still are, really. Speaking of, how many of you have seen that ESO is currently on the chopping block? No, I am not happy about that. As if I even have to say that. It hasn't been axed yet, but ZeniMax Online is one of the studios that's currently facing the axe in Microsoft Gaming. Because Microsoft Gaming has been imploding so hard and so fast that it's actually kind of unprecedented. I was talking about this just last night to a couple of my friends. Even when THQ imploded, it was this really slow, like, giant, slowly falling over, stumbling over his own feet kind of a thing. What's happening right now at Microsoft Gaming is insane at its pace. Ow. I'm taking so much damage. I mean, it is, Rex, absolutely. But also, there's some other problems there, because Asshole McGeeface, I don't remember his name, and I don't care to look it up, is a pretty evil person, and has openly admitted to delighting in trimming the fat, his words, not mine, whenever it comes to stuff at Microsoft. He's also been quoted as saying that his managerial style is anything that catches his attention is something that he will go out of his way to deal with as thoroughly and as personally as he can. And Microsoft Gaming definitely has gotten his attention. So that sucks. If it goes into maintenance mode, that's fine. If it dies completely, that sucks. Like, full stop. I'm not even particularly invested in ESO, and I still would absolutely hate it if that happened. So I said I'm going to go ahead and cheat and use a map, and so we're going to go over here. No, I legitimately think he is actually sadistic. Like, not as a joke, not as an insult word. I think there's something wrong with him. So let's just do this. Mithril Shield. So we're going to go ahead and pretty much immediately equip that on... Oh, he's already got one. On... Nobody. Oh my god. Well, see, that's one of those funny things off the deeper end, because the answer is obviously yes, but there's also this weird asterisk, isn't there? Like, we kind of presume they're sadistic, but are they really sadistic? Yes, the answer is yes, they actually are sadistic. But the point I'm trying to reach is that it's actually rare that we see demonstrably objective proof that these people are just sadists. That they're just monsters. They're just human beings who like to be, yes, who are openly gleeful about being sadists, and that's rare, actually. It's a little more unusual to see that. What do you mean, Sean? Sorry, I don't understand what you mean. Yeah, exactly, Seth. These people do not understand what the word no means. Yeah, again, I was talking about this just last night. I feel like a lot of the mask has just been ripped off, and a lot of people are just being a lot more open about things they've always been. These assholes have always been assholes, right? This is nothing new. They're just being way more overt about it, which could be a good thing, depending on how many pitchforks get involved. Woohoo! Maria has finally hit 200 health. Oh, damn. Ooh. We are so low on resources. I have no heals, no ethers, and 11 mana to my name. God, I don't want to do this dungeon a third time. There's no way. There's no way I can beat the boss like this. So we're gonna try a safety save here, just in case. We're gonna do one quick thing. Because there's something I'd really like in here, which is really gonna help if I can actually get it. Let's go ahead and use this now, because we're committed at this point. Ugh, why are there so many undead in here? Let's go ahead and use that to cure, I think, actually. Joseph dying is not going to be something I'm going to care all that much about, honestly, so I'm just going to let that happen, I think. Sorry, Joseph. Don't worry, your dad will be fine. Oof. Ah. Hmm. I suppose that is a claim that could be made, Sean. I can't actually speak to that, to be quite honest with you. I mean, this is... This has been a long time in coming, quite frankly. I don't... If I'm to put money down, and this is presumption, this is speculation, I don't think that them not buying Active Blizzard would have prevented what is currently happening from happening. The AI bubble would have still hit. They still would have dumped entirely too much money on it. It still would have caused the Eye of Sauron to gaze down upon Microsoft Gaming, and we'd still be seeing tons and tons of layoffs and shutdowns. I don't think anything would get better if they hadn't bought Microsoft, or Activision. So, yeah. Okay, this is it. This is why I made a safety save, because this... I don't have a lot of resources to win this fight. So I'm gonna kind of go all out here. Hope for the best. I mean, I agree, Pillars of Snow. It's... I think that Activision being bought out and Bobby Kotick and his cronies being removed from Activision was a overall good thing. Really, I do. Not just because of WoW, although admittedly a fairly large amount because of WoW. But, now what is really the big question. And that's kind of where we're at. That's the funny part. We're at the now what phase. Yeah. So what we just got, let me explain what we just got. We just got a new sword. It's called the Ancient Sword. Nothing in this game actually indicates that it's the third best weapon in the entire game. That's not an exaggeration. So the Ancient Sword has the ability to cast, that is to say, to proc Curse on the target it hits. Curse reduces the stats, all the stats, of the target enemy by half. That is exactly as useful as that sounds. There are precious few enemies in this game that are immune to Curse. Amusingly, since absolutely nothing in this game indicates that, it is not that out of bounds to get to this point of the game, get the Timpani, I think, Mr. Ed? To get to this part of the game, use the Ancient Sword and say, this sword sucks, and immediately replace it with something else. Go figure. Yeah, Curse is very, very, very useful. And, it is going to increase our survivability a non-zero amount. I'm gonna go ahead and push, just for the hell of it. I'm just curious if we can do this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna run from every battle. You get it on floor 4. Oh, hey, here's the Moogles. They're actually beavers in this version. Ow, ow, ow. You're welcome, Mr. Red. Words. What is this music playing? What's going on here? Oh, because we're... Yeah, okay. There we go. In the far southwest of floor 4 is a mimic encounter where you get the Ancient Sword. It is called the Ancient Sword in most versions of the game. So if you got it, you got it. As for when we had the heaven level added, I don't remember if that was the PS1 or the GBA version. I really don't. Because the GBA version was the first time I ever actually really sat down and played this game. Like, I beat it on the NES somehow. And then I played, the PS1 version and said, this sucks, and stopped playing it. And then I played the GBA version. That's the only one I actually played for realsies. I'm gonna go for this. Get some cure on. Why'd you bother being on the NES? Real answer? Pride. No joke. Especially at the time, there was a degree of... I don't even know what to call it. The very small but extant Final Fantasy community online liked to talk up and down certain FF games, and FF2 was definitely one of those, this game sucks, nobody could possibly beat it, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it was touted as one of the hardest FFs ever made, and blah, blah. And keep in mind, this was like 98-ish, so I forget if 7 or 8 was out at this point in time, but quite a few FFs had come out by this point. Please get the heal off. That was not a very big heal. Oh my god, and she immediately takes damage. Oh my god, she immediately takes damage. Oh my god, oh my god. Run, 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 run. She's dead. Oh, she's dead. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. And yeah, it was that same thing where people were saying you could beat Mystic Quest in half an hour. Which, for the record, is nonsense. I've actually told that story before, I'm almost positive. I'm gonna save state for no reason. Please work. Thank God, okay. I now have no mana at all. I have nothing. I have nothing. Okay, there's the boss. Also got some silver armor. Now, silver armor is extremely helpful. You know why? It is light armor. So what we're going to do... I'm going to rejig her a little bit. Leave her in the back. Let's pull him into the front row. And let's go ahead and put the silver armor on him right now. There we go. So that pretty much quintuples his defense and doesn't touch his evasion. So his evasion should still be decent. 329 is not bad. That's not great, but it's getting there. Cool. Okay, so we're going to do a backup save over there. And since that's the boss right there, we might as well... Wish me luck! It's a turtle, so I'm not even sure I can damage this thing. Like, legitimately, I'm not sure I can do any damage to this thing. Well, we cursed it. That's good. That's actually really good. Oh, we got a crit, too. Okay, so... we have a chance. So we landed a curse immediately, which is great. Oh yeah, we're already doing way more damage. See, you see what I mean about the curse sword? This thing is stupid. We can't heal, so... I'm just gonna rely on luck. Okay, we're doing good. He missed us. We've gotten 2 crits so far. This is insane luck. By the way, there's a second boss right after this. Oh my god, we're actually getting really good hits in. Like, shockingly good hits. I kind of wish I'd put her back on bow, but whatever. Okay, so Joseph's dead. That's... foreshadowing is a literary device. The problem was he was one of the only ones who was doing regular damage, because Rai is actually incapable of doing damage. Okay, so we're still... How much health do you have? Oh my god, a third crit. He's not dead. Why aren't you dead? Why aren't you dead? Please die, please. I'm begging you. If I ask really nicely, please. Please, will you die? I'll be your best friend. Oh, okay. But please, please. Recursed. Okay, that's good, that's good. The good news, legitimately, is Guy is... Oh, there we go. Is Guy is actually set up to be a hell of a tank right now. Okay, so we got a diamond shield. Woo! Whoops. Nope, nope. Okay, so we should... Yeah, I was gonna say, we should have a second. I'm gonna make one attempt to res Joseph. This is actually a bad idea, but I'm gonna do it. Okay, Joseph is up. We are now truly really dry on heals. We cannot heal anymore. Debate. Yeah, let's go ahead and give him the superior diamond shield here. And then... that means we actually have a spare mithril shield, which will be really nice in a bit. Okay, so we're going to get that backup save over there. By the way, did we get it? There it is. Okay. Quest item get. I was going to say, how many of you have ever reached this point of the game, not talked to that thing on the wall, and left the dungeon, and been really confused? If you do that, you have to do the entire dungeon again, get back down here, boss is dead at least, and then talk to the wall to get the quest item. I've only done that once. Thank you for the sub, Floating Triangles, as always. Give me one moment, please. I will put that towards Fire Emblem Three Houses. Do you have a route preference, by chance? Wrath of the Righteous and Dragon Quest XI. Okay, so okay, so I could probably kill these things. I'm not even going to try. We're going to run from absolutely everything. There's no benefit in trying to fight stuff right now. Okay, so this is one of the very few dungeons with an actual honest-to-God shortcut to the exit. Which is good, because we need to get the hell out of here. If we could at least get to the overworld, we could safety save our way back to town and survive. Blue Lions, huh? I will jot it down for Blue Lions, then. Done. Okay. God, we are inches from total death. I guess that's not quite true. Guy is very much set up as a tank right now. Like, turbo tank. Oh yeah, you want to hear the turkey gobble, don't you? Please run. Please run. Okay, fine. You'll never leave here alive. So there's Borgin. He's supposed to be, like, just a walk in the park kind of a fight. Like, this is intended as a bit of a... Yeah, okay, sure, buddy. After the actual boss fight we just fought. There are certain runs of this game in which this guy is much harder than he should be. I also just noticed I forgot to put Joseph back in the front row. Not that it's about to matter. Why does he look like a pirate? I don't know. Yeah, he heals very regularly, which means if your damage output isn't high enough, he can be very frustrating. I also forgot to unequip Joseph, but whatever. Anyways, Joseph's about to leave the party. Now, like, I'll use... With my last breath, I will use a potion. I don't believe enemies had a mana stat at all in this game. In fact, I can check that. I can just look at any random enemy right now. No, they do actually have a mana stat. Never mind. Consider me surprised. I don't think I've ever encountered an enemy in FF2 who has run out of mana. I know they don't run out of mana in FF1. It's challenge runs. They'll just cycle their spell list forever. Hey, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we did it. I think we did the snow cavern in only 2 visits instead of 3. That was way too close. Oh, good. Okay, so, hey. Hey, Joseph, my buddy. Hey, listen, I'm gonna take all your stuff. Just take off all your clothes. Trust me. Trust me. Take off all of your clothing. I want to see naked man meat. Let's go. Come on. There we go. Okay, much better. I feel much better, Joseph. Thank you. Let's go. Now's your chance. I won't leave you behind. Go, now! Anyways, Joseph's dead. I don't care. I'm sorry, I don't. We talked to Joseph once, rescued his daughter, and then did one dungeon with him. He's... okay, he's dead. Whatever, moving on. Excuse me. I've got to run across the frozen wastelands now. I think he's actually our first major party member to die. See, I understand intellectually that sweet potatoes are, like, healthier in pretty much every way than regular potatoes. Yeah, probably Dawashi. But I just kinda... I don't know. I have to be in a really particular mood for sweet potatoes. Or they have to be cooked in a certain way. Oh my god, get me out of here. Also, I'm sad that Turkey Warble wasn't in this version. Oh my god, we made it. We made it to the end. I am in shock. They have a baked sweet potato at Texas Roadhouse? I'm gonna have to try that now. If I ever get to go again. Like I said, I do like sweet potatoes. I do. It's just certain cooking or certain mood, right? Hey, Wolverine. Okay, so Snow Hell is done. Let's go tell his daughter he's dead. Hey, your dad's dead. That's our fault, technically. I will look after Nelly. That's the most I could do for him. Oh yeah, that was the woman who was crushing on him. There's the daughter. Hey, your dad's dead. Okay, bye. It's also almost insulting that they kill off Joseph with frickin' Borgin of all people, but whatever. Like, even in universe, even without, you know, my version of our Borgin, who I was actually rather proud of and took a lot of time to write and record, Borgin's always been a joke. That's always been his point, is that he is the joke. So who's ready to cross the entire world map again? Let's remute that music. Let's get some overworld music going on here. There we go. Damn it, this is like the third time I've gone the wrong way this way. Because I always think down here there's a nudge where I can get through, but there isn't. So I always end up going the wrong freaking way down here. And I'm enticed by the river, because rivers mean no encounters. They seduce me with their watery ways. Right, she's still in the back row. Let's go ahead and do that for now. Get her back into being regularly targeted and actually doing damage in combat. I wonder if they're going to tell us where Kashuan Keep is. It just occurred to me that they haven't yet. I know that's my destination. I happen to know where it is. Of course I do. But I don't know if the game has told me where it is. And that's relevant. Dude, Breath of Fire 3 is such a vibe in terms of its soundtrack, which is funny considering how... I almost want to call it post-apocalyptic-y, but that's not quite right, is it? Like, Breath of Fire 3 is kind of... bereft is the word I want to use. In a good way, I mean, like in an in-universe way. The whole setting is so screwed over. Yeah, Ant Farm. That's a good way to put that. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Yes. Get rid of that. Get that. That. Get rid of that. Keep that for right now. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And I need to take a screenshot here real quick. Yeah, an ant farm that nobody realizes is an ant farm. Okay, this is on random. I swear. I know the feeling. Let's go ahead and sell that too. Amusing enough, now I'm having the opposite problem. I don't have a vendor worth buying stuff from yet. I will. Although I could... Hang on, where am I at on magic right now? Exit, Cure Life. Cure Life, so I need exit on her. He needs exit, so I need 2 more exit spells. Okay. I know where to get those. That took me a second to get what you meant, Braquin. Alright, let's see if they'll tell us where Kashuan Keep is. So Joseph died for the bell. Well, you can enter Kashuan. Sid may take you there on his airship. That's your solution, is just take the airship? Okay, whatever. Ain't gonna argue. I think that's funny that that's the intended direction. Just take the airship. That you pay for. Dude, I'd rather take the catapult. I've played Secret of Mana. And I agree with Ross. I think Secret of Mana will not score particularly well. But I'm not sure how badly it'll score either. The biggest problem with Psalm is almost all of its story positives are going to be visual. The actual story in Psalm is not good. At best. Like, incomplete might be a better word for it. I remember when I was streaming the Secret of Mana remake, and I was talking about the Mavolians and their role in the history of the franchise, and several people in chat are like, what the hell's a Mavolian? Because they never mention it by word, ever, in Secret of Mana, not once. For the record, Thanatos is a Mavolian in Secret of Mana. Yeah, it might be, Ross. Because the gameplay is pretty rough, too. Let's buy an exit tomb. 2 exit tombs before we go any further, actually. Yeah, so let's just zip through these. I love how Sid's just taunting me there. Just being a dick, you know. Oh, Psalm is definitely one of those beloved classics. I will freely admit there are only 3 reasons I love Psalm so much, and you could tell me all 3 of them right now. Co-op, which was a huge deal to me in general, and was a gargantuan deal in frickin' 94 or whatever it was. Co-op game, co-op RPG in 94. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. I just lost money on nothing. Music and visuals are the other 2. The game looks amazing. It is one of the more impressive visual games. In fact, I would say it's probably the 4th most visually impressive game on the SNES, and that's some pedigree. Maybe 5th, I don't know. It's definitely up there. The soundtrack was done by a gentleman named Hiroki Kikuta, who you've never heard of because it's one of the only soundtracks he's ever made. It's very weird. He, like, dipped into the universe to make the Secret of Mana and Trials of Mana soundtracks, and then just vanished back to his homeland. Yeah, actually, Ross, it's pretty much the same situation. Okay, so her and him. That's what I thought. Okay. So let's give him exit. And give her exit. There. We have exit, cure, and life on our principal 3. Let's get out of here. I actually want to review Evermore 2. I'm almost positive it's part of the SNES block, so we'll get there. We'll get there. Oops, wrong way, again. I think I've told you before, I've never beaten Evermore. I bounced off that game so hard. I have a little more tolerance for that nowadays, which is funny because one of the most common accusations I get is that I have no tolerance for games, but no, this is my job now. I'm locked in. I didn't even get far. I died to I quit at like the first major dungeon. The swamp pit or something like that in the first timeline. Alright, Sid. Yeah, you're done. So I'm going to do what it says and go to Kashuan, which is 400 gold. Jesus Christ. Again, something I kind of want to do with that infinite amount of spare time I have is a quit point series. Just cover how far I get in any given game before I just walk away from it. Like, nah, I'm good. Because I feel like there would be some interesting information there, especially in games that, you know, get better after the said quit point. Oh, God. Yeah, bye, Sid. Thanks for dropping me off here, you dickwad. Okay, so Kashuan Keep. I'm just gonna pull up a map. I'm just gonna pull up a map. 2, 3, 4, 5. It's only a 5-story dungeon. But have you noticed another difference about FF2 versus FF1? I do actually want to talk about this briefly. Because FF1 doesn't actually... Speaking of Secret Mana, FF1 doesn't have that many dungeons, really, if you think about it. So we've got the Marsh Cave, we've got the Earth Cave, Ice Cave, Volcano, Undersea Place, Waterfall, Tower, Sky Temple, Last Dungeon. That's 9, right? By contrast, FF2 has... Hang on. Let's just go down the list here. I'm going to go alphabetically because that's the list I'm looking at. So we've got Sewers, Mazidian Cave, Cyclone, Dist, Inside the Warship, Jade Passage, Kashuan Keep, which we're about to do, Leviathan, the Tower, Pandemonium. Obviously, we're already past FF1, by the way. Where was I at? The Tower, Pandemonium, Palamecia, Thin Castle, which is the thing later, Summit Caves, which we just did, Snow Cave, which we just did, the Snow Island. Did I say Snow Island? The South Island. And let's say if that's actually it, but that's still 15 dungeons as opposed to 9. And every single one of those dungeons is larger. What I'm trying to say is I feel like this is a deliberate decision on behalf of the developers. They wanted it to be more dungeon crawling, which ties in with everything else I've been talking about with regards to the design of this game. I am presumptive, but it would make sense if they were trying to be more dungeon crawling. Let's see. Dual Hearts, Mega Man Battle Network, and Dealer's Choice. Thank you, Blue Dragon HC, very much. I do appreciate you. I'll put it towards getting myself meat for lunch, because that's exactly what I did. Is this grass better than Secret of the Stars grass? Yes. True, Rex. In both cases. Alright, we're in a dungeon now. Hang on, we gotta... Hang on. I actually do have a specific type of playlist for this kind of place. In fact, I'm pretty sure it includes this song. And I am wrong. Is it here? No, here it is. I'm pretty sure this is the music that's playing here. Okay. Let's use the G-Bell. You can't use this. Okay. Use the bell here, then. Okay. Sure, game. Okay, so yeah, this place is a little more mazy than the last one. Only a little. I was trying to find the Egil torch, but the monsters were too strong. It's somewhere in the castle. Please help me find it. Wait, did he just join the party? Yeah, there's Gordon. Wow, he is pathetic. Look at his... Oh my god, look at his stats. He has a 1 in every weapon. And, what do you have equipped, Gordon? Oh, Jesus Christ, that's level 1 gear. Cool. Thanks for being a load, Gordon. Appreciate you. We have the best equipped to listen. Hey, a cure tome. That's actually a good question. How the hell did Gordon even get here? Like, how did he physically... Look at him! He's so pathetic. Yeah, or maybe he has, like, some certain ability that's extremely useful. FF6 played with that idea. Bannon, who is basically a load because he has terrible stats and terrible stat growth. And if he dies, it's game over. However, he does have a free AoE heal he can use every single turn. That is exactly as useful as it sounds. It's a good heal, too. It's not like Prey in FF4 or FF4AR. No, it's a good heal. Yeah, Mr. Red. Don't you like it? What I'm actually doing... What I actually did was I chroma keyed it. I chroma keyed the game. So, for example, right now I've got the stars back there. And that looks nice and smooth and natural, and I'm really happy with how it looks. But I can put whatever I wanted to back there. Wait, is it actually called Prey in the picture? I did not know that. For example, let's go to your favorite place in the game here, Mr. Red. Let me know when you figure out where we are. Of course it's a troll room. Why wouldn't it be a troll room? And yeah, by the way, adamantoises are now just regular enemies. So, that's cool. Die. Yeah, exp grinding is generally not needed in FF6 because experience only gets you health unless you have a Esper equipped. And the first time you'll have an Esper equipped, and that'll be worth it, is pretty much towards the end of the game. And as we've said a few times, FF6 is a fairly easy game. It's one of its bigger flaws, honestly. I mean, Blizzard art team, am I right, Mr. Red? Yeah, let me go back to the actual background. Yeah, it has not been a long time, Rex. He got a fast demotion there. And Gordon's dead! I alt-tabbed for a second to set it back to the freaking stars, and he died while I was alt-tabbed. Very true, Blade12. I actually want to talk about the very specifics of Esper and Magicite design once we get to FF6, because I suspect a lot of very careful thought was put into it. Like, if you ever think about which Espers we get where, and what spells they give us, and what stat ups they give us, there's some very clear design to a lot of that. There's also one point in the game where you get a giant bundle of Espers basically dropped on your face right after you finish the Magitech facility. And that just flings the door open on Kit and what kind of spells you can get and how you can set up your team. Really, Blade12? That's even more interesting. Where am I? Hang on. I'm actually lost. Ah, okay. I know where I am. There's another mod tracker remix. Ask me how I know. God, 300 gil, holy crap. Yeah, one of the things I used to like to do, shouldn't be doing this, is I would deliberately get Raiden, even though he's like kind of worse than Odin in several ways, and then absolutely crank a speed up on like one character, right? Like, Locke is fast. Have you ever leveled Locke several levels with Raiden equipped? Because it is hysterical. Pretty much, Damashi. We know they had a lot of thought in several other FFs, but like 5 and 6, yeah. Especially 6, since we know through years and years of interviews at this point that 6 is supposed to be kind of the swan song. Like, a lot of people were intending 6 to be their final fantasy. No pun or joke intended. So, most of the people working on 6 kind of threw their all into it. By the way, I like this dungeon design. Go in a long circle around the entire room. That's the dungeon design. Hang on, just to make this point, because these enemies aren't really too bad right now. You see that staircase immediately to my right? That's my destination. I don't know why, because I'm usually in favor of peeking. But when there's that kind of go all the way around-itude, something about that just really irritates me. It's like, here's your destination. Go around. Yeah, it feels like taunting. I mean, this whole game feels like a troll. This whole game feels like a mean-spirited GM who actively dislikes his players. No. It's the enemies from Super Mario Bros. 2. Sorry, I borrowed that joke. I'm sorry. Is Bolt doing anything to them? Yeah, it's doing something. And yeah, Takoida is correct. The reason they do it is so that you know where you're going. Still feels taunting, but... Okay. So what do you have? You have a mithril shield. You have a mithril shield, which means he's got to have the diamond one. So let me go, because nothing in this game tells me. Let me look up shields. Here we go. There we go. So, yeah, the gold shield is actually better than the mithril shield, top to bottom. Huh. Go figure. Wait, what? Ah. Amusingly enough, the gold shield has the highest evasion stat attached to it until you get to the Aegis shield. By the way, the Aegis shield is the best shield in the game. You're probably thinking, what's the point of the other shields? Well, the ice shield and the flame shield, as well as the diamond shield, give resistance to fire, ice, and lightning, respectively. And the dragon shield gives resistance to all elements. But if you want evasion, you're going to need the Aegis shield. Let's put it on... feels like the right call. Listen, Gordon knew, okay? I'm just saying. Gordon's alive! Oh, wait. No, he isn't. Points if you even get that. I don't know if you'd enjoy Flash Gordon. It is wonderfully, delightfully, deliberately cheesy. But I don't know if you'd like it. This poison is not going away. And that's really bad, because I have no ability to cure poison right now. I think I'm going to have to buy some heal tomes at this point. Listen, I'm just saying, I don't think the film's bad enough for you to properly appreciate it, Mr. Ed. Because I know you need a certain level, certain pedigree of awful to really properly appreciate a work. Oh yeah, by the way, you can rearrange spells. I do believe that's when they first allowed for this. I would use that extensively in FF4. I like how I don't even have a level 2 cure at this point, by the way. I've been using cure pretty regularly. I still don't have one. Getting there, I guess. Just leave that as is. Okay. God damn it, stop throwing these physical resistant enemies. I'm running out of mana, and I'm about to fight something that's... no, whatever. Oh, what a terrible day for a Soten, I suppose. Oh, nope. I was about to say I'm out of water. But I've got a backup. Okay. Where are we? Okay, this is funny. I want to show you something. As soon as I get past these enemies, I'm just poisoned for the rest of the dungeon. That's just my life. All right, which one of these two doors should I go into? Neither would be my first thought. So the right door leads to a troll room. And Lord knows this game has been training you not to open random doors. So it's kind of a dick move when you go in here. And this actually is... it has the statistics of a troll room, so a very, very high encounter rate. But it also happens to have 3 treasure chests. At the very least, there's some good money to be had in this room. Because we get a mithril axe, mithril sword, and whatever else we just picked up. I've already lost it. Yeah. What was that? Oh yeah, the wear... whatever that is. Wear staff. Right, that's a staff. Speaking of midnight... It's actually funny. All of that, I'm just going to sell. I'm not going to use a single bit of that. But whatever, it's a lot of money. And at this point, we could really use the money. Okay, so I can go to 3 more locations. I can go upper left, lower right, or left. So that door, control room. Hey, we cured her poison. That is unironically a way to deal with that. Just be like, yep, here you go. Oh my god, I'm wrong. She's still poisoned. Oh my god. I'm wrong. By the way, there's another door that's a troll room. If we go left, that's a troll room. I'm just pointing these out as we go here. Oh my god, what is this encounter? What is this encounter? Okay, we're gonna run. We cannot deal with this fight. This is not happening. Okay, we got extremely lucky there. Gold armor. So... Okay, this is just gonna suck. Oh god, she's in the back row. She's in the back row. Okay, hang on. Okay. We have a little bit of healing. Alright, so we got gold armor, which I'm actually going to put on... nobody cares about Furion. Let's put it on Maria. This will be a little bit of an upgrade, because it'll still have the evasion, because it's light armor. At least there's a bit of a nomenclature to light armor, right? Gold, copper, silver, all that's light. And then, black belt gear and stuff like that. Okay, so... So, if we go down, we get a troll room. Oh my god. Hang on. Oh, he's got cure too now. That's nice. If we go north, we get 3 treasure chests again, and we probably want that. So we're gonna do that. Yeah, I knew that was coming. Okay, I was gonna say, it's not a bunch of adamantoises, which is good. I would have trouble with that. Thank you for the sub, Ben One Eye. Whose name is currently not accurate. How did you change it back? How did it go back to the previous name? That's the really confusing part to me. Shouldn't it just be Ben One Eye 33333 or something like that? Echo screen, eye drop. Antidote! I'm just going to use one of those antidotes right now, and I'm going to use it on her, I think. Yeah. You know the question, Ben One Eye. Okay, so that's a troll room. Oh, that's... I'm gonna try running. Oh, thank God. Okay. The run tool is a weirdly powerful tool in a lot of these games. Which always kind of amuses me a little bit. And One Eye. It's going towards Civilization 4 Kingdoms of Amalur. Sonic Adventure 2. Done. And appreciate you. Okay. Let's go over here. We're almost through this dungeon, thankfully. Ah! Run, 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 run. Okay, thank you. Okay. Let's get the boss music going here. So, I'm kind of worried about this fight. So this is the Red Soul enemy, right? And you're probably thinking, okay, and? Well, so Red Souls are kind of weird, right? And I'll show you why. I'll read the full stat block for you, because these things are a thing. Is this FF2? Yeah, there we go, FF2. Red Souls. So, okay, they have 540 health, which is certainly a chunk at this point in the game. Decent attack, okay defenses. They can cast Fire, Thunder, Blizzard, and Scourge. However, they absorb every freaking thing. They absorb matter, mind, death, body, fire, lightning, poison, and ice attacks. So, we'll see how this goes. How did that ambush me? How did that ambush me? I'm staring at him. I walked up to him. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, I wasn't ready for that. All right, cure yourself. If we can't do physical damage, then this is over. Because it's the only method we have to attack this guy right now. Okay, can we hit him? If I could get him with the Ancient Sword, I'm actually probably fine. Oh, we're good. Okay, we cursed him. We're okay, we're okay. Not that I'm aware of, Ross. God damn it, he's hitting like a truck. This will eventually be a random encounter, Dakota. How far am I from beating the game? We haven't even taken down the Death Star yet. Look, I didn't name it. This game was inspired by Star Wars, so, you know. The good news is the Cursed Sword is still doing its job. Otherwise, we probably would already be dead, honestly. Let's do one more heal round here. We're just going to slowly chip our way through this here. Okay, we're all above triple for the moment. Okay, I was actually worried about that fight, because I wasn't sure how we were going to be able to do there. Oh, good. HP and NP just went up. Really? Now? Really? Fine. Garlic. Eat it. You mean literally? Yes, I mean literally. Eat the garlic. Right now. Okay, okay, jeez. Okay, yet another quest item. Just put this down here in the pile. You'll notice we're already starting to collect quite a few quest items down here. Yes, all undead are weak to garlic. That's not actually a joke. At the very least, it is not mine. Speaking of which, let's re-equip garlic, because it looks like we used it on that fight. Okay. Let's see if we can teleport out. Oh, thank you, God. Now, here's a fun thing. How many of you have gotten, the torch and then left the dungeon? Maybe gone back to Altair, which I remind you is a long ways away from here. Quite literally, it's the length of the world map away from here. And they're all like, why haven't you gone to Kashuan yet? We're still poisoned. Yeah, so after you get the Eggle Torch, you have to use it on this thing. Yes, by the way, the Sunflame and the Eggle Torch are 2 separate quest items, because screw your inventory space. Go away, 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 go away. Hey, an antidote. So normally there is a validity to walking back from here, because A, you probably don't know that there's an alternative, and B, just leveling. But meanwhile, as you can see, the warship is grounding Sid's ship, is what you just saw happen. Big, epic cutscene. However, for the sake of sanity, I'm just going to go ahead and use the Chocobo Forest. That's okay with everybody. Well, I guess we could stop the boss music. What are we doing next? Next we're going after the fortress, aren't we? Or the Death Star, I should say. Pretty sure? Yep. They all call it the warship in this version, but almost every version of the game after this calls it the Dreadnought. I actually have a playlist just for this kind of thing. There it is. Oh, hey! Evo, do you want to be tortured? So I've had this muted this whole time, so you haven't heard all the poison damage I'm taking every step I take. But in addition to the terrible song, now because I'm moving so quickly, you, funny thing. This is... I'm not actually... This is not a gig. This is just how the game is. The good news is we're almost there. For real. It actually takes a relatively small amount of time to cross the world on a Chocobo. And we're done. Yeah, this is what you haven't been hearing this entire time, by the way. I think Furia just died. To poison. Ah. So let's give out some negatives. Well, you know, while we're here, just for funsies, really. I'm feeling an audio spam. Any new positives? No. Yeah, the city guards are like, I don't know, he's like 3 feet out there. I mean, my break's in 10 minutes. Hey, Game Geek. One moment, please. I'll put that towards Kingdoms of Amalur. Saints Row 4 and Epic Mickey. I believe it's on sale right now. I think I just saw that. Pretty sure. Oh yeah, I should mention this. You had to get what, Brinkman? Hang on, you lost me. You lost me. Why are you shrinking fabric in your bedroom? Oh, you mean... Okay, okay. Message received. He's still frickin' poisoned. Get up, Gordon, you waste of everything. Let's see if the inn... Oh my god. Let's see if the inn cures poison. No! The inn... doesn't... cure poison. I will buy an antidote to shut that noise up. Jesus Christ. Note to self. Buy a heal poster tome. Okay, let's sell that. 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 Get all this tasty mithril gear. I give it to Gordon, but he is so worthless. Like, he's arguably more worthless than Joseph. Because Joseph, at least, has decent stats for the one dungeon you have him. Gordon's just there. He's garbage, and then he leaves your party after 2 dungeons. At least the next party member we'll get after this is also crap. She's also crap, sorry. But the party member after that will be our first decent party member since Minwo. Yes, really. There are arguably only 2 good party members in this game. The princess was kidnapped and is on the warship. The princess was kidnapped and is on the warship. Princess Hilda was captured. Oh no! I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna talk to everyone first. Princess is being held in the warship. Princess took Sid's airship to meet you at Kashuan. I stopped at shore, and the princess got on the airship. Before I knew it, the Empire had her. Save the princess. Destroy the warship. The next time the warship attacks, it'll be the end. Kashuan's Sunflame. Oh, princess. The Empire's supplies come north of Finn. The warship might be there. Okay, so they do give us a direction. One NPC tells us where to go. I honestly thought nobody did, because I have distinct memories of being at this point in the game and having absolutely no idea where the Dreadnought is. The princess wanted to welcome you at Kashuan on board of the airship, but was abducted by the Empire. Please save my daughter. Huh? Please, help the princess. That is true, floating triangles. Alright, I don't think they do, but let's check this spell vendor here really quick for something. Yeah, I don't think so. It's whenever the game default. That's the game's default response if it doesn't have a pre-programmed response to go to. So it's... Okay. I guess I'll get rid of a negative. I was all primed to give that negative because I'm not joking when I say I got really lost at this point. Like, you're supposed to just kind of figure out where to go. And remember, other than go north, you get absolutely no direction. So, you know, figure it out, right? There better be other negatives, I swear to God. It's the only way I can get up in the morning is knowing those negatives are right there waiting for me. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry. Ooh. Egg bites. Those look good. All right. To the Dreadnought. Let's at least finish the first major story arc. Because if you've been paying attention, the story of the entire game so far has been building up to the confrontation with the Death Star. It really is very A New Hope. I'm not actually being facetious. I don't mind. I don't think it's a negative. It's just this arc is Star Wars A New Hope. Kids, parents killed, evil empire advancing. Oh gosh, what do we do? I've got it. Let's go and, you know, fight the empire. Oh crap, they've kidnapped the princess. The princess is on the super ship. Now we're going to the super ship. Nope. There are effectively 3 acts to this game. The first one is probably the longest. I say probably. We'll see, won't we? Oh, that's... Oh, you asshole! Okay, sure. Sure, we're just... Does that persist? Oh, it persists. Oh, that's terrible. Alright, hold on. I gotta look something up. My entire team has now got the blind status effect, which is exactly as frustrating as that sounds. Okay, so... Jeez. Yeah, okay, so where can I buy this? Yeah, by the way, there's 2 heal spells in this game. You're probably wondering, why? The reason why is because in order... The way that they programmed this... Hang on, where do I buy this? Yeah, give me a second. I need to figure out where I can buy these stupid tomes. So I have a destination. Bafsk. And Bafsk. Okay, that sucks. So the way they programmed these is... You know how spells have levels? Well, for the heal spells, for the restore spells, what that means is the higher level, the more successes you have. Each subsequent success cures a different type of status effect, right? So, for example, Basana heals in order Venom, Sleep, Silence, Mini, Paralysis, and Confusion. By contrast, Esuna heals Darkness, Poison, Curse, Amnesia, Toad, Stone, and Death. So there are so many status effects, and because they were doing this manually, I'm just going to use this. They wanted to make sure that you had the ability to cure. Oh, I've been chipped. So Toad is interesting because Toad kills you. Toad is actually a very overpowered spell in this game. Actually, maybe it doesn't. Hang on. Let me double check myself on that. Might be misremembering something. Nope, yep, it is. So it's, it prevents you from taking any action or, like, doing anything. So you're essentially out of battle. So I was right. Toad, Stone, and KO all effectively mean you're out of the battle. Yeah, the kill thing I was thinking of, because I was a bit wrong there, is enemies. So if you cast Toad on an enemy, it just instantly kills them. I should mention that some people think of this game as one of the easiest FFs, because, if you know what you're doing, you could pick up a couple of spell tomes extremely early in the game. As in, literally after you've left the first dungeon, or first town, you could go and get things like Toad. And again, Toad is an instant kill. And the Toad spell... Hang on. Find it over here. There it is a matter spell, which means very, very few enemies are resistant to matter damage. Those that are probably not resistant to death, which is death element. And there's also warp, which is matter. Hang on, where's exit? Or is that warp? Sorry, some of these spells are a little bit differently named here. Is this it? No, that's not it. Well, whatever. Point is, there's several spells that don't look like kill, and all of them actually, when used on an enemy, just straight up kill. Yeah, here it is. So you could just have a bunch of instant death attacks relatively early on. So I just realized I can't actually use the airship because, you know, it's currently been captured by the enemy. So we're gonna have to walk to Bafsk. The good news is we have a decent chunk of background change? Bank change right now. We've got some money going on. So this shouldn't be the end of the world. Why are my rows so wrong? We're all still darked. I just realized. I don't have the ability to fix that right now. Like, I literally don't. Oh, there it was. Okay, heal! The hell is peep? No, I'm being serious. What's the peep spell? I'm looking at my spell list. See, the problem is there's not a lot of consistency in nomenclature here, so I'm not sure what some of these spells are. But there's no scan ability that I'm seeing here. Part of why I'm asking is I feel like Basuna might be peep. What do you want to bet? What do you want to bet peep is Basuna? Yeah, okay. That's the... Yep, alright, so... 2... 3... 1... 2... 3... Okay. Why is it called peep? Then again, the death spell in FF1 is called rub, so what the hell do I know? I think the intention behind it was rubbing someone out, as opposed to rubbing something out. Bragwin. Okay, so arrow is poison. Of course it is. Okay, so Peep. Don't care about Peep. We care about heal. There we go. We can see. Wait, it's a miracle. Now to walk all the way back. Actually, I think it's literally faster to walk straight to the Dreadnought from here. Because the world map is a rhombus, or whatever the proper term for that is. What that means is if you leave the left part of the map, you enter the right part of the map, and if you leave the top, you enter the bottom. So in other words, not a sphere. The relevance for us is if we were to go south here, we will run into the peninsula, which is where the Dreadnought is. Unfortunately, that goes through Palametian territory, and I think those enemies are a bit beyond us. So let's go ahead and get a Chocobo, shall we? Not that we know where those are. Still. I wonder if they show where the Chocobos are on the Pixel Remaster. I'm legitimately not sure. Hey! Ryokami's strength just went up. Whoops. There it is. Alright, so I'm afraid I'm going to have to torch you all now. Again, I'm not doing it on purpose, I swear. I just need to get to the Dreadnought. Quickly, and without encountering anything. Yeah, what is the term for that, other than a donut? Because I swear there's actually an actual geometric term for that. A torus? Yeah, that would make sense. So, this has always been an interesting bit of world building that they have never done anything with in the games. Ever. In FF2. In any version of FF2. You see this? This is a gigantic, empty desert. There's nothing here. There's screen upon screen. Here, look at the map. Oh my god! Why did that dismount the Chocobo? Ah, shoot. Well, anyways, there's this gigantic, empty desert around here. This might be bad. This is where Palamecia is, the super ultra powerful Empire of Doom. Yeah, run. Run. Run, 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 run. Run, run, run. Run. Ugh. Okay, we got away. Yeah, this is what I want, is to start one of the harder dungeons of this part of the game with really low everything. Ugh. Oh, God. Okay, okay. Run, run, run. Run, run. Just keep running, just keep running. Alright, so we're dead! Anyways, so there's this giant frickin' desert, and that's where Palamecia is. How are they the super ultra powerful military? Now, in a good game, no offense, FF2, in a better thought out game, might be a better way to phrase that, there would be an explanation for that. There would be some kind of reasoning behind why the desert country is the super militarized country of Doom. Bent on conquering the world. There is no explanation here, before you ask. I should say there actually is an explanation, it's just not a very good one. Come on. So, I mentioned how the Mughals aren't actually in the final version of the game. Well, there's actually two other races that were supposed to be in the game, too. And one of them lived in the desert. And so the whole idea was that the Palametians kind of grew rich and powerful off of their interactions and coordination with them, treasure, trade. You get it, right? Desert town trade hub. You get where this is going. But because that doesn't exist, none of that's actually in the game, so instead there's just this giant desert right next to Palametia for no reason. You know, another direction they could take that is maybe that's why they felt the need to summon a freaking demonic army in order to conquer their enemies. Right? It's like, well, shoot, we don't have resources or manpower. Let's summon demons! Maybe go with a little Gerudo thing. I was envious of the much richer and more powerful nations. Because all we had was harsh desert winds, you know, that kind of thing. Anyways, here's the Dreadnought. Woo! It's actually, like, right here. In the middle of frickin' nowhere. When I first played this game and was having trouble finding this, I should tell a little story here, because this is just a thing that happened. So, in order to get here, what they want you to do is go to Altair and then go straight north. And you go straight north, and then you go straight north, and then you go straight north, and you go straight north. And there's just this endless array of like, land. And I started questioning it. I started doubting myself. Like, is this really where I'm supposed to go? Like, is this the intended destination? Ugh, that would be cool off the deeper end. Doubt it, but it'd be cool. And I doubted myself so much I ended up turning around and then had trouble finding the damn place. Because you really are just supposed to keep traveling north and north and north and north and north. Well, you see, Czar, it's very simple. Almost every time you enter town, a story event happens, and many of those story events end up with either boss fights that you may not be ready for, or a party member leaving permanently, which means you've just lost out on equipment. So naturally, the Death Star is filled with zombies. Why wouldn't it be? Also, I'm just going to spoil this. The music in here gets very old very quickly. So we're just going to do this. I'll let you listen to it for a second. And that's it. So here. What this actually sounds like. Pass, please. Yeah, sure. Here's my pass to join the Death Star. Thank you. Alright, so, the Death Star. Let's do this. One, two, three, four, five. Only 5 floors. That's not terrible. We have already dealt with worse than that. So, for obvious reasons, since we're here to blow up the Death Star, the Death Star is not going to be here once we're done, right? You might be like, yeah, but there's 2 real reasons why that's particularly relevant. One is called the Blind Bow, and the other is called the Sleep Sword. No guesses what those do. We might be going back to Maria there having a bow again. very soon. In fact, let's go ahead and just switch back to that now. Just so she's kind of ready to go for that. She's gotten plenty of HP. We're good. She doesn't need more HP. She's fine. She's fine. Just more HP than Furion. Oh yeah, look at that flickering. Look at it. Soak it in. Alright, I'm just going to spoil this. Up ahead we have 4 doors. 1, 2, 3, 4. Which one do you think we should enter? Jesus Christ, stop immediately darking me. I didn't even get around before you'd already cast dark on me, you asshole. The correct answer is none of the above. Troll rooms. How do they work? Literally all the doors that you have available here are no. So we're going to grab this chest right here. We're up to 400 gold from chests. That's... Oh god, corals. Yeah, by the way, I'm pretty sure we are now already at the point where enemies can just instantly kill you. You should know this song, Ross. You notice I'm not fast-forwarding as much against some of these enemies because... Geez, still gonna do this. Okay, we're okay, we're okay. Thankfully, we got to go before he could go, because, yeah. By the way, all these guys are encounters that, even despite all of the leveling you've done at this point, are probably too strong for you. I swear this is on random, Ross. Huh. Okay. Alright, we're okay. So there's the sleep sword. Arguably as good as the ancient sword for pretty much the exact same reason. I'll be putting it on Guy here in a second. So this fight can really, really suck. Or really, really, really suck. And there's not a lot of in between there. We'll see how this goes. Oh yeah, that's not great damage. I'm up to Ice 3. I wonder what my... I should do this. When we do the Pixar Master, someone remember, or remind me, or I'll remember, to constantly level Ice on someone. Doesn't matter who it is. And let's just see how high we can get the Ice spell by the time we hit the Dreadnought. Because we're level 3 right now, which is our highest level spell. And level 3 out of 16 is not as impressive as it sounds. Now Random and Bry are asleep. Jesus Christ, Blade Trafal. Yeah, yeah, I have a level 2 fire and a level 1 lightning right now. I have gotten up to a level 2 cure. So, Furion's dead, and we're all blind now. And yeah, we just game over. Who doesn't love Warcraft 2 music? Don't answer. I'm sure there's someone somewhere. But yes, I've always loved the fact this goes back to FF2. The way they demonstrate the blind status effect is you're wearing sunglasses. A weirdly quick and effective way to convey that you can't see as well. Oh. Okay. Even the music! Oh my god, Blade Default. That's just uncouth. Alright, let's get our cure on. I really want that sleep sword. And it will go away if I don't get it, because, you know, this dungeon's going to be destroyed when we blow it up. God, Maria's actually approaching Guy in terms of health now. Are we all still front row? Yeah, okay. That might be true off the deeper end. No offense to Warcraft 2. I can tell you exactly how our review of that's going to go someday. We'll start off really positive, talking about all the cool, interesting, fun things it did to make RTSs better. And then it will be a non-stop decline of quality the entire rest of the run. That's my prediction right now. That's a different formation! I didn't know those could actually be different formations. Okay, hang on. I can work with this. If we can get rid of these damn mages. Cure 16. Let's see what you were using. Okay, one mage dead. Yeah, I am including Beyond the Dark Portal for these reasons. Because, yeah, as I've complained about many times, Beyond the Dark Portal just wouldn't even begin to know what balancing is. It walked up and smacked itself in the face. Actually, why don't you go ahead and heal yourself? Let's do that. Burning way too much mana this early in the dungeon opener. And Maria's dead. Of course she is. And Maria's dead. God damn it. No, wait, what? There we go. Why don't you cure yourself a little bit? Just a bit. Oh my god, we did it. Okay. No, Blade Deval. As I mentioned earlier, swords are just better than basically everything else by virtue of all the best weapons being swords. The Sleep Sword, the Ancient Sword, and Excalibur, oh, and the Blood Sword are all swords. There's a couple of decent weapons in terms of bows and I think spears. Jesus Christ, below us now. Axes are just universally terrible. Their mischance is enormous. Like, the best axe in the game, the Rune Axe, has a hit chance innate of 60%. God, I just noticed the best bow in the game you get in the final room of the Jade Passage. That's just mean. Here's the best bow in the game. Enjoy the last dungeon. Oh my god, Eva. Let's see, what about spears? Spears have really low accuracy, too. The Holy Lance has an accuracy of 70%. To put that into perspective. I mean, I guess that's not terrible. It's just... That's lower than it should be. Daggers are garbage. Just straight up garbage in this game. And so are staves, obviously. Whatever. Anyways, moving on. What was I doing? I was healing. Oh yeah, I need to send it. Sorry, I'm so distracted today. I'm sorry. Okay. Alright, let's see if I can make my way through this dungeon. Then we're probably going to cut off for the day. Oh my gosh. Let's see if we can blow up this stupid thing. Wait, did I actually heal? I didn't heal. I should probably actually heal. Oh no, it's stunners. I guess you could say that's pretty stunning. Listen, it's not my fault my sense of humor is so stunted. And yeah, half my party was stunned by that. Jesus. Got some health up out of it. Ooh, got more health up out of it. Hey, Cure finally hit level 2. I'm in the Dreadnought, and my Cure just hit level 2. I don't know how to put that into words. My mana's up to 50. On my primary caster, I've been doing almost nothing but casting with the entire game. Okay. Good lord. Man, double checking something and get back here, we're good. Oh yeah, that's it. There's nothing here. We wanted the sleep sword, which I want to equip. Right. So let's go ahead and do that. There we go. Yes, I did. What game was that? I meant to ask. Now, this is an appropriate song for work. Oh, that's Resident Evil 8? Oh. Well, Furion's dead. I just... Oh my god, I'm not even messing with that. No. Run. 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 Okay. Yeah, I gotta check the map. Because at this point, I am not screwing around, and I'm kind of in a hurry now, so... that goes to 7. Okay, so I do want to go this way. If nothing else, we want to get that new bow. That shiny new bow for Maria. The Orkmobile. Okay. We should be okay. We're okay. Could you stop poisoning me for 5 seconds, please, please? Oh, hey, this is in the past when we hadn't equipped her with the bow yet. Alright, where's that? There it is. Blind bow. Does exactly what it sounds like. I guess I could go ahead and pull Gord to the front, so he could at least, you know, take some hits. I legitimately don't remember what this thief gauntlets give here. I guess we'll find out in a minute. Damn it. I was about to go like, I wonder what the blind bow's gonna do. The answer's nothing. That hurt. Okay, so what the hell are the thief gauntlets? Are these armor? Can I equip these? Hang on 1 second, please. Armor, here we go. I think this is armor. Gloves, here we go. Thief's gloves, what do these do? I'm sure glad I'm looking this up. So the Thief's Gloves increase your evasion, increase your defense, increase your agility by 10, and contain a magic penalty of 40%, which is, for those who are not aware, is through the freaking roof. Most armor comes with like a 2%, maybe 20% magic penalty. 40% is bonkers. Yes, I will put those on random. The other person who's like definitively not casting. Yeah, if you're not casting, they're very good. No, actually, I take that back. Because Maria will be targeted more than him. So we'll give her the evasion. Speaking of amazing games. Cracked open the bars. Woo. Oh, random. Sunflame? Airship? Warship? Mithril? Yeah! Hang on, Princess. There's an encounter in your cell. I don't want to know what you've been doing in this cell. That's none of my business. And we're already dark. God damn, I hate this dungeon so much. Alright, a lot of the old FFs boil down to, you like status effects, right? Don't worry, I got you. I'll escape with the princess. Toss the sunflame into the engine. You mean the sunflame? Okay, so we've rescued Princess Hilda. Yay! Our princess was not in another Death Star. I'm gonna start running. This is insane. We are just falling behind everything here. I kind of want to get the rest of the loot down here first, though. Oh no, Gordon's dead. Someone cares. Okay, fine. Die. 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 Die! No! Oh my god! Okay, okay. Run. Run. We're dead. I hate this dungeon so much. Whatever, I'm gonna chop off now. Tomorrow we'll finish Act 1. Ugh. Maybe.